Hey, girl. Hey,
What it
sis.
is, beautiful.
Oh my God, I'm so glad to be back, sis. Hey, my name is Nakia Franklin.
And I'm Vawn Gretta.
And welcome to this episode of the Real
and Raw Talk Show.
Where there are no boundaries.
And no judgments, y'all.
Sis, I am so excited about this show. I'm so excited about this episode. You know, I just want to preface how there is so often where our kids grow up or things happen in life, and people as adults and as we grow up, people treat us differently. They look at what we're doing, but they don't understand our conditions behind the scenes. They don't understand what we go through. They look at people and they ready to judge off the cuff, right? Instead of like understanding who we are as human beings and having real conversations with us, trying to get to know us. And when I say us, I'm not just talking about me, and I'm not just talking about you, sis. I'm talking about anyone, regardless of color and sex, and regardless of sexuality, regardless of what it is that we think we are and we know ourselves to be, right? People are quick to prejudge and throw us by the wayside. But we have people in this world who have come from tragedies and experiences and situations that no one could have ever imagined. Not even them.
And not even them.
Not even
and sometimes they look like, and sometimes they don't look like what they've been through.
Exactly. And then they turn their lives around and look at them today. So I want to talk about our guest for today. His name is Mr. Terrance Coffie of New York, New York. He's an adjunct lecturer at the New York University, right? Is the founder of Educate, Do Not Incarcerate, is a criminal justice advocate. You know, criminal justice, CJ, is my heart. He is and a consultant. Now, Professor Coffie is not your typical success story, and he is one who stands for justice, fairness, equality, and equity. He believes, yes, we have a right. We have every right to be angry, and we must not lose our voice to oppression. And since I also say that this must not continue to happen even through suppression, degradation, and isolation. Now, through experiences, he gave his life to God and made God the center of his life, right? Terrance has since fought for cases to reduce, if not remove, the impact of racial, economical, and educational oppression through the understanding of cultural and environmental factors. And that's what I was talking about. Now, he uses forensic and holistic approaches to understand the impact of the justice system, and that the system continues to have on 2.2 million Black and Brown communities that encompass a marginalized society, sis. What do you think about that?
Let me tell you something. It was such a pleasure to even meet what I know you may or may not know this watching this, but we prep all of our guests and spend time with them so that what you see on the screen is quite authentic. I can tell you that Terrance, you know, when I found out he holds a Bachelor of Science and a Master's in social work, I was like, wow, talk about turning what you received into something you can give out to the world, right? And that's what we do here on The Real and Raw. His journey has been one of innocence, abused, abandoned, a victim. He's been uneducated. He's a survivor, a thug, a criminal, a habitual offender, a nigger, a defendant. He's been delivered, he's been liberated, he's been educated, and no longer being tolerated, but celebrated as a positive contributor to our society. Amen. Excuse me, because that's, you know what? I'm with him. Like I said, you don't know what people have been through based on what they look like. He's received academics awards, y'all. Presidential accolades from his academia. He's been Student of the Year. He's a community liaison for the Doe Fund, founder of Educate, Don't Incarcerate, as my sister said, and he's the co-author. Wonderful book. It's entitled Race, Education, and Reintegrating Formerly Incarcerated Citizens. Right there in your heart, sis. And he produced a documentary about juvenile justice in America. He is a speaker. He's a lecturer of forensic justice in problem-solving courts. Awesome. and what is it called? Such an authority on the subject, right? Credible in the courts. In 2020, he launched the I Am a Credible Messenger campaign to amplify lives, experiences, and voices of those impacted by the criminal justice system. He's been featured in USA Today, y'all, in 2019, and change.org, and the Community Technical Assistance Center of New York. And they call that the CTAC. And he's also been on the Ebony Collins Show in 2019, The Blotter in 2020, and in the New York Daily News, and interviewed by none other than Katie Couric, which we posted on our page for your review as well. Awesome. I'm really excited. I'm excited because this is in your wheelhouse, you know.
Absolutely. So when you hear Terrance speak, you will wonder, how did this man, who has endured more than many and not as much as some, has he ever survived? His sharing will make you sit and reflect on your own life that may be full of excuses, reasons, a lack of hope, and even a wonder. Now, whatever occurs for you as you listen, comment, and share, our intentions in episode number 11 is to cause you to take action that you may have forgotten was even possible. Those feelings that you may have allowed to sit dormant and maybe even disappear. Now, what will you take? What will you take on? That is a question. What will you take on to make a difference? Not just for yourself, but for the world, after presencing yourself to the words and the worlds of Mr. Terrance Coffie.
Well said, sis. Words and the world. My God. So listen, you guys, on an additional note, we are so honored to have the amazing poet Kevin Burns Jr. joining us. I will tell you that I heard the poem before tonight, of course, and it drew me to tears. It touched my heart like never before. So stay tuned, and you'll learn more about him during the show. Now it's time to get real and raw, and so we want to hear from you, what you know, and we want our guests to please take a few seconds, you guys, our audience members, to go to www.streamyard.com/Facebook. Again, that's www.streamyard.com/Facebook. And I'll pin that in the notes here. And this will allow you to grant StreamYard access to your comments because we want to see them. Everybody wants to see what's on your mind. Your voice matters, just like the show says. Do not lose your voice because you are not invisible. So stick around and post questions and start your own watch party. Share because we need the engagement, y'all. We're growing. We need your help. We can't do it without you. Get going. Okay, really, because now it's time to enter into the no judgment zone. See you.
Entering the no judgment
I'm sorry. I had to laugh at myself. I said, why did I keep poking my lips out? I don't know. Hey, Mr. Music. All right, then we're gonna jump into this whole conversation, y'all, because I am totally excited about what we have going on tonight. Let's welcome our guest, Professor Terrance Coffie, TERRENCE. Terrance Coffie, yeah. What's going on, Terrance?
Hey, sir.
Nakia, I want to thank you, ladies, for having me on tonight. I was so caught up in the intro. I'm like, I really can't dance, but I was trying to do the little dance, real and raw, trying to dance. But I got two left feet, so
oh my God, this is too funny. Thank you so much. Thank you for being our guest on this episode. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to have you here. And I want these people to know exactly who you are so they know that, life will always dish out some stuff sometimes, right? But it doesn't mean that's where you have to stay. You don't have to stay in that pile of itch. I was trying to get it out there without saying it. The S, the I, the S, the H, the T. Yeah, you don't have to stay in that pile of crap right there, right? You come on up out of that by God's grace. So we're going to get right into this. I want the audience to know who you are more than anything before we discuss anything. So I would like for you to share with us a bit about yourself, such as your name, education, occupational experiences, and a bit about how your life began.
Okay. Again, I want to thank you so much for having me on The Real and the Raw. My name is Professor Terrance Coffie. And I'm an adjunct lecturer at New York University, where I teach forensic justice and problem-solving courts. I've held numerous positions as an executive for reentry programs from across the country. I've worked with government organizations and groups that focus on furthering justice and equity through our criminal justice system here in New York City and from across the country. Let's see, I'm the founder of Educate, Don't Incarcerate. I'm heading the national campaign for I Am a Credible Messenger here in New York, as well as a lot of things that you ladies said. I was sitting here blushing, and I'm a black man, so y'all know I was on some other shit. But also, with all that said, I graduated in NYU Student of the Year, published author. I've got a lot of work in USA Today surrounding issues related to voting rights and criminal justice reform here in the United States. But before all that, my name was Terrance Coffie, E604958, Thug Life, for real. I grew up in foster homes. I was sharing earlier. I come from a background. My daddy was a pimp. My mama was a prostitute. I ended up in the foster care system where I spent a few years, and I was adopted by a lovely family. The Coffies is where I got my last name from. And I grew up in the church at a young age, and but during those times in my life, I really felt conflicted within myself as a child. I had to learn to fight a lot. Not that I wanted to. I had to. I got bullied a lot, and one particular situation, a lot of things happen in foster care to young boys, young girls, and something happened to me. And during that time, we weren't our society wasn't as open as it is now. And I remember getting up in the middle of the night after this person had touched me, and I remember getting a Coca-Cola bottle. One of those thick bottles. That's when we had it back in the old days. So I say old, y'all know my ass old. I remember busting this person upside the head. I remember them coming to get me and taking me to my first time being incarcerated as a juvenile to the juvenile detention centers. I remember nobody ever asking me why I did it. And I remember after I came back, I was somehow labeled bad because of what I done. But the good thing about that, prior to that, I was invisible to the world. Another foster child. But when that happened, I need to tell you, I became, any attention for a child who's neglected is good attention. Any attention is good attention. And I got that attention. And I never longed to be a bad person. But what I did know was that during my formative years, that's the only way I was identified. And I embraced that. And it wasn't to be bad. It was I was seen. People didn't pick on me anymore. I didn't get bullied anymore. And I realized in that vein that negative attention made me a real person. That indifferent, I was considered real. And that same line of thinking led me to selling drugs when I was very young. That led me to the streets of Palm Beach and Miami, and that also led me to the chain gang for 6 different bids for the lifestyle I lived. I'll be very honest with you that, during my entire life, I've never felt alive. I never felt a part of the society. I was always, you got the outcast, and I was considered the outcast of society. And I need to tell you, and this is one of the things that kept me through a lot of things I went through, was the love and support my mama gave me. My mom and daddy gave me in those, after being adopted. She instilled in me those things when they say train up a child in the way he should go and he should never go from that path. I need to tell you, although it came a little bit late, her prayers and those things that she instilled in me, they came to the forefront. My last time being incarcerated was back in, I think, 2008. And I was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And the fact that I had been incarcerated 6 times already, and I got a rap sheet like from here to him. I was considered a habitual offender, and particularly under the 96 crime bill that was introduced by our now president, Joe Biden, which is another campaign that I am now working on to repeal the 94 crime bill. I was considered a habitual offender. And what that meant was that I was facing 30 years in total, but 20 years for the habitual offender status and 10 years for the aggravated assault. And I need to tell you, it was the first time in a long time that my mama's voice came to my head. And she would always tell me, Terrance, one day you're going to get yourself in some mess you can't get out of. And she told me that in a way, and it came back to me. It's a soul saying we have in the black folk, we all say, God bless the child that got his own. For a long time, I thought, well, part of it means having your own material stuff. But what my mama was talking about was that relationship with God. Because you say, how they say, you don't know, you wasn't there, you don't know when, and you don't know well. Well, for me, that day happened when I came back from that hearing, and I remember hearing my mama's voice. And I remember in that cell falling to my knees and praying to that God that she had told me about all my life. And in that, I was praying to God not to get me out of the situation, because I knew I was going to the chain gang. So that wasn't it. What I was praying, that they don't give me that much time. That's what I was praying. And it was about 2 weeks later that they called me I thought to be transferred to what we call D block. And this way, now I've been D block a whole lot. And that's where we call it gladiator school. This is where you get it down at. You're going where it happens at. In that period of time, when they called me that day, they told me to pack my stuff. So, automatic thing. And it was then that they told me that the charges against me had been dropped.
Wow.
I've never been involved with the our correctional criminal justice system had no charges dropped. My name is connected. It's like, you going to prison, period. That's it. And the only thing I attributed to that was the day, I remember just that day I prayed and God brought that. And my mama said God brought it back to my remembrance. As she used to say it outside, he brought it back to my remembrance.
Right.
And that was the day a chain of events began to happen that led me. I was in Florida at the time, that gave me an opportunity to come here to New York City to really start my life over. And I didn't know what that starting over meant to God. I didn't know what it meant at all, to be honest with you. All I knew that I didn't want to go back to the chain gang. I knew that. And I didn't know, I when they talk about the promised land and God guiding you, and let me say this now, I'm not a religious person. Anybody who know me, I'm not that guy who believe in that traditional concept of what religion teaches about God. Because I kind of came up under a belief system that, you go to hell and you got to be perfect and all that. And I wasn't none of that from the day I was born. So I already knew I was fucked up from the gate. So we can scratch that. I wasn't going to fit that list. So I had to there was a different understanding of spirituality that I embarked upon that spoke to me, that when they say, I believe in that God say that he looked past my faults and saw my needs. That God I understood.
Wow.
And I was the one, I'm the more, the cat who came to God like that for real. Look past my faults and see I'm the one who beat on his chest for real. God, forgive me for sinner. I was him for real.
Yeah.
For real. So there was no delusion to me about, religious pomposity and all these things that people do and say, because when you come from the gutter, like I'm from the gutter, you need a real God, because I'm from the gutter for real. People talk about it. I'm that for real.
Yeah.
So I need that kind of, that thing that they say in that word for real. And I held to that. Let me be honest with you. And it's not because of this and that. It's because I had nothing else to hold to. And that was my moment when you say your relationship. My mama say you find your own relationship. And I found that. And from there, that's when my life and my act, all the wonderful things you ladies have shared about me here tonight is where that journey began.
Wow. Thank you so very much. Transparency and authenticity trumps everything. And
so you're right.
I thank you. Because you didn't have to be here, and you don't have to be exactly who you are today. You didn't have to be exactly who God created you to be. And we just thank you so very much.
Absolutely.
So, that's some serious stuff, coming from your mama being a prostitute and your daddy being a pimp. That's stuff that you see in the movies. You don't get to meet people who have situations like that, and that's real life. And then you go through everything that you've been through, and you live to see it, and you live to stand. So I get how the choices made an impact on your life. And I do want to ask you a little bit, just to elaborate just a sentence or two on looking back at your life. Because we have children today that make decisions, right? And they don't understand, they don't know your story. So many people are walking around on this earth and don't think they can overcome, and don't think they can get through anything because of their current situation. One question: how did you feel in those moments? Did you ever feel like, all hope was gone, that, it wasn't, it was no coming back from where you were in that space?
To be honest, yes.
Okay. And then, Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I absolutely did. But but one thing, I believe that I'm not God. I'm not God. And did I become hopeless in life? You got to remember, I was sitting in the chain gang looking at about to do 30 years. Did I feel hopeless those times that I absolutely did. But what I understand now is that they got this song I love. He had his hand on me. He had it on me way from the beginning. I didn't even he had his hand on me when I was thugging. He had his hand on me the times I did though. I believe that he already, and I'm just telling you that that's what it was. And it wasn't, I believe that sometimes there's a path for people to take that God, and I don't want to, and again, I'm not religious. I'm just telling you,
Right.
I'm telling you who I am. I'm telling you, I'm tattooed up for real.
Yeah.
I saw life. There's a book by James Baldwin that says that's called Fire Next Time. And in this book, James Baldwin says that the greatest danger to Black and brown communities, and I'm going to get back to your question, is when we accept what white America calls a nigger. See, once that happens, I no need long call you a nigga no more, because you're gonna call yourself a nigga. Because I always say my nigga. We say that, but we
Let
say
us speak on it.
But once you internalize that, I no longer need you. I don't need you. You're gonna do it yourself. So I want to say to you that I believe, for me, that there's a journey that some of us take, because a lot of times we talk about the vessels that God uses.
Mm-hmm.
Those vases that sit up like some of my wars in my book of the Obamas, and then there are those vases. You know, every part of the body, when you say the shape of the vase, some of them pleasant, some good, like some, but everyone serves a purpose.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, you got to be broken in a way that God, you can see God. Damn right, I was fucking hopeless. Damn right, I was broken. That I had accepted the fact that, and then, but I was saying this up, but God. So the but God for me wasn't for the church. The but God was for me in that moment when that take me back to my old girl. That God gonna show you one way or another.
That's right.
That's right.
So a lot of times when people talk to me about my life today and what I'm doing now, they are made half the time their asses don't know I'm just as me. He said, "I'll take you to the highest heights." He said, what is that damn saying about he'll confound.
Yes.
Confound. You feel me? He said, I will tell you the foolish things of the world to confound the wise.
You better talk about it.
He didn't confound. He just confound them folks at NYU or the Global Scholar Committee, because all of them like, y'all, like, how the hell this happened? He's confound. So hell yeah, I was confounded.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm
sorry. I took too much. I'm sorry, but I had to.
No, you're good. I'm just asking you a couple more questions, then we're going to go to a music break. So what advice would you, at this particular moment, what advice would you be able to share with our audience who has had similar experiences? What would you like to say to them?
I know, right? I know.
You chosen. Oh, you chosen. You already chosen.
Amen.
My words now, what you hearing now, because you know the audience and those who may hear who come from where I come from, we believe in God in a way the traditional church don't believe in. I know cats in the chain gang, they believe in God in a whole, you know, when you in that. So I would say to those individuals, just by you hearing my voice, and whoever get a chance, have this replicate when you hear it, I'm going to tell you, you already chosen. You may not I ain't the one to try to tell you to make you see it, because I ain't God. God gonna show. God the one who made the light, not me.
Amen.
I'm just the vessel to come to Bob. We plant the seeds, and God gonna do his rest. Because once you know, that's what I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna remind you, you're chosen. That God is God.
You have to make me run up in here. You got to make me run up in here, because see, you don't even know the prayer. At 7:59, you don't even know what the prayer. What God put in my spirit.
Right?
What? What?
Can we just take a screen break?
So y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready. So I want to bring it. I want to bring it forth. Thank you so much, because you are already chosen.
Yes, come on.
How did you come to meet your wife? Because I can't step over this beautiful, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Girl.
Life that is your side piece. Your
let me tell you about this woman.
Everybody don't have that. Everybody don't have that.
Let me tell you,
you've been through what you've been through.
Let me tell you about this woman. I met my fiance at a panel discussion. I was in the green room that you know how it is. You know, I'm Terrance Coffie. They gave me my own green room, and they came back to tell me, Professor Coffie, there's another attendee who's going to be sitting next to you for the panel discussion. And you know, my pompous ass. Now I done got, you know,
me. You done got somewhere. You done got somewhere.
Well, you know how Nicholas bit. So I walk in there and I see this beautiful woman, but then I see the water bottle, and there's one water bottle. And I'm thinking, why is she next to my water bottle? And I'm Terrance Coffie. I walks up, it's her. So I asked, I say, excuse me, is that water? She looks at me and says, no, it's mine.
Okay.
She has such a commitment to children who are impacted by the criminal justice system. And I began to hear her share her passion and her love, and how she extends herself, particularly through the work of a program called CCF that helps directly involve women who have, you know, just involved, particularly with their children. And you know how you like, look, girl, I went up there, I wanted to give her the water. You had a water, baby girl, you know. And then there go my ass now. This is where it really got something, because you know now I'm still Terrance Coffie now. So I done gave her the thing, my camera. Can you record me? She looked at me. She started doing it. I guess it hit her. What the hell am I doing? She gave it back to me. And from there, I invited her to one of my speaking engagements, and she came, and we talked. And the more I got to know her, the more I found out how amazing she was. And she has stood with me through my own ups and downs, my own situations, my own arrogance. I used to tell her, I'm Terrance Coffie. She was like, all right, you tell them. Yo, who does that? And she always tell me, I don't love you for what you got. I don't love you for your awards. I love you for you, because you're such a loving, thoughtful, compassionate. You'll come rub my feet. And then, you know, I get all, you know, that type of stuff. And we met at a panel discussion. And from there, me and my Mimi, we've been rocking and rolling, man. I told y'all earlier, she's my joy, my light, my happiness, my pain in the ass, my go to work, hurry up, go to the office. And by the time she gone for 30 minutes, baby, what time you be back? I can't do without that woman. Girl, I go slap crazy. Yes, she know it.
Thank you so much, because I just couldn't step over that queen. I mean, and we are so appreciative of her allowing us to borrow you in the spaces in which she has, because it takes something for a woman to have enough self-confidence in who she is to allow other women to be in a space of her man and not feel intimidated. and know that there's a level of trust and respect between the two of you all, that no matter how beautiful we are, because we are some beautiful girls, some beautiful
ladies. But let me tell y'all absolutely beautiful. Boy, girl, that girl got that thing in the closet. All right, Negro. So I'm sitting here like my hands up. Step, look.
And we want to violate none of that. And we just want to acknowledge her and appreciate her for who she is and who you are.
Yes.
We really want to do that. So what would you do? Well, you know what? Now, let me see.
Well, sis,
we can go on to yeah, we're gonna move it forward because we can talk all day long.
Yeah, because I have some really
for time.
I'm gonna pick your brain in a minute, sir.
Yeah, and I want y'all to get back because we have some more burning questions and information is about to come, light y'all behinds on fire.
Right.
Y'all to definitely stay tuned. Share this episode if you haven't already shared it out. Keep being engaged, and sis, it's over to you, babe.
Thank you, baby. And I want to piggyback off of that. She always gives me the section where, you say things that other people don't want to say because she know I'll do it. Everybody know I'll do it. I'll say it, So I would love, first of all, thank you, audience, for being a part. Like sis said, please share somebody. Tell them, hey, get on this because this brother's for real, for real. It's the real and raw. Look, you guys, close to my heart, we talked about the poet before, Kevin Burns Jr. And I want to just kind of open up what's going to happen. He is going to introduce his work of art to you, and it is such a wonderful offering, especially with having Terrance on the show tonight, and you'll see why. So stay tuned and enjoy this incredible spoken work of art by Kevin Burns Jr.
Hey, the Real and Raw Talk Show. This is Kevin Burns. I'm a poet, and you're about to watch my poem called Hands. It's a poem about how our hands build something. It starts off, hands are the architects of our lives, or our fingers are the architects of our lives, and how they tell stories. In this poem, it will tell the story of love and how a man is trying to get ready for an engagement. But it'll also talk about different hands, mother's hands, father's hands, Christ's hands. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it brings a lot of thoughts to your mind. And if you want to see more of my poetry, you can go to Kevin Burns Jr. on YouTube, or you can look me up on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks so much for the opportunity, and I hope you enjoy. Bye. I think it's telling the story of how I left it. Take from both the chapters of our life. Ensuring my forever doesn't slip away. Not even for a moment. First time I met you. Sometimes I look at my hands and envision the stories they will tell. Fingers are architects of our lives. Everyone's hands build something. I remember how my hands flinched in fear when the stove's flames growled at them, or how they searched the cabins of concrete for currency. My mother's hands sung a chorus of care, a nurturing quintet soothing me in feeble moments. When sickness snuggled next to me like a lover, her courageous hands ripped that imposter out the bed. In my father's hands were submerged in rivers of provision, masculinity etched in his phalanges, his forefingers scarred with sacrifice, the tips smeared in pain, but his fist full of power. As I grew, I learned about our Savior's hands, how sin carved craters in his palms, but God's grace laid down that mountain in order to carry our souls back to God's merciful peaks. Put your hands. I want to spend a lifetime discovering your hand. I want to voyage every crevice, embark every embrace. My wishes hang on your pinkies. Terrains of your palms are like treasures for me. Each touch curates memories, gentle impressions that hang in the exhibit of my mind. In time, a simple interlocking of fingers will consummate what we both are thinking. Unity. My fingers tell the story of how I love you. They fumble the chapters of our lives. That's why I clutch your hand so strongly, ensuring my forever doesn't slip away. Not even for a moment. The first time I met you, my hands wept and you thought I was nervous. But my heart's joy flowed through the epidermis of my skin. Oh, I could wrap your wrists with wreaths of love, and you can lay your burden on my shoulders, and I can adorn your arm with ornaments of ovation, and you can hide your kisses in my lips. But no, our hands can sow the seeds to a family tree. Rooted in love, the fierce of our tomorrow will be harvested with our hands. Even the dirt hidden in our nails will be blessed when we're together. But first, you must rest yours and mine. Beloved, will you take my hand?
I just want to say, damn!
Dude, I was over here fixing that thing. Like, I was so your mouth. I was,
I'm just like stuck, like right there, like his whole persona, like you are so present to that moment right there in that space with him, and you are just you're hanging on to every syllable, every word, every breath, every pause, every time he licked his lips. I was like,
look like LL Cool J and shit. Look, he he said when the stove's flames growled at them, his hands. The stove, like, you know, when you trying to get your education and you grown and you like, how am I gonna do this? And what I can't remember exactly how he said it, but every word hangs on her fingertips. Boy, if he did that in person, I throw shoes, Bibles, books, chairs, everything at his head.
Ooh, so I'm gonna put myself on mute because that was good. So we can go. Ooh, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, baby.
Thank you, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, y'all support him. Okay, so I'm getting ready to it's just, I mean, it ain't even beautiful. It's brutal. So I just, oh my God, let me get back into the zone. Terrance, now I'm coming for you, sir. Okay. If we could get right. And this has been so incredible. And what a fitting poem for this man, right? He talked about everything the poem talked about. His life reflects it. There ain't but one Holy Spirit. Okay. So thank you, Kevin, for your offering. Oh, you got to be back. So Terrance, I want to talk about who you are. I want to talk about how you became who you are from the inside out, not from the outside in. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know why you felt you were losing your voice. And first, I want to acknowledge you and really thank you for being so open and transparent with us. It's just so courageous. We appreciate it. After all of the struggle and the education and the accolades and everything that has changed inside of you, I want you to tell us what made you feel like you were losing your voice, because that's why we named this Don't Lose Your Voice. You said that to us, right?
Yes, absolutely. You know, when I began my academic like I said, I came to New York and I got into this program and I went through that and I graduated that and I found myself at academic institutions such as, I initially started at Bronx Community College. Next thing I know, I'm over in Europe studying global poverty, and I'm being named a Coca-Cola all academic team, New York State. So by the time all that was going on, my life was getting better. But I think for me, what happened was when I got us, and I'm grateful for my academic experience at New York University, but that's where the rubber met the road, because I was kind of going into this new environment that was predominantly white. I was considered, a very intelligent Black man and all these things and so on and so forth. And I think somewhere down the line for me, those things began to intimidate me as a Black man. It began to, and a lot of people say, well, I'm not like that. You be, all those things until you're in that pot where it almost came to, when I share with you guys that there was a brother, he was in the doctoral program, and I have been known to be very I don't even cut no corners when I'm talking about the issues of what's happening, what's going on, because I think that a lot of the things we talk about get so watered down by the time you get it, you drinking water. You know what I mean? You get that gin and you put enough chase in it, then all you're doing is drinking chase. And I think that what happened to the message on racial, social, and criminal justice reform in this country. And I didn't really hold back. But when I got there, it's as if I started being challenged by a society that didn't really know me. And I met this brother, and I think I showed you guys that the movie Get Out. You remember we was talking about the movie Get Out, and you remember the guy, he was there, he was meeting all these people who had already been there, and it's like they was trying to cry to him, like to tell him, nigga, get out. Like, but through what he said to me was, Terrance, don't lose your voice. Me, when I think about it, right now, he was telling me not to lose who I was in the scope of where I was at. Because I think that there comes a time, a lot of us, we compromise who we are in spaces. We compromise our integrity. We compromise our core values and our beliefs. We compromise some things. And when we compromise some things, we compromise the message that's set out to really impact and change and heal and effectuate change. And for me, I felt challenged through, when you're at an institution like that, there was a lot of microaggression. There were days when I worked, that old saying that we have to work double hard in order to get here. I worked triple hard. And part of it was institutional, but the other part of it were those internal beliefs that somehow I realized that I believe about myself and people as a whole. I never wanted to be late. I was never going to have a failing grade. You need to know that, because somehow it seemed as if I got a failing grade in the course, then that was a reflection on the whole Black community or the whole Black folks. See, niggas dumb. If I was late to a thing that, then see, I told you he on CP time. See, things like that I was working through, and things like that began to cause me to question myself. And I share with you guys, and it's almost as if you're sometimes prepped to be the good nigga. Let me just say that for what it is.
Okay.
So I got the accolades and I got the awards, but it seems like everything kind of said that I was put in this box now. I was put in I was being forced in this box of a belief system that some things I agree with, something. It was as if I couldn't have my own opinion outside of what people may have believed. I have a writing I did called my golden coffin. And my golden coffin was laced with all these beautiful awards there. But every time they put one more award, went one more nail that put me in this coffin of where I no longer was me.
And how did you begin to then break out of that coffin? What fire did you use, or source of encouragement?
There really was an encouragement. There came a point where I was at a dispute with the individual on a fundamental cause in regards to justice reform, and this individual was a person who was a president of a company that I work. And on my space, where I share, this person made a comment in regards to something I had said, and we disagreed. And it was there that, and I'm trying to keep this as in this content, it was there that I realized that somehow I felt that this person thought he had bought him a slave, that I had no voice outside of what this person said, that I had no views outside of what's the view of the organization, that I had no outside opinion of none of that. And that was kind of like the Mexican standoff, whether I lose who I am in that, or do I hold to what I believe in the communities and people I represent, and not diminish someone else. And that's where it happened. And I realized in that moment that, I couldn't allow money, I couldn't allow positions or prestige to interfere with what I believe to be right. And it was there almost, as you said, I almost lost my voice, and in that there comes a moment, and I believe for everyone, there comes a point where in situations will arrive that tests that. And for a lot of African Americans, particularly those successful African Americans at different levels, we reach these various levels that we find ourselves being compromised. And a lot of times we can't forfeit it because of, whether it's the salary, whether it's the position, whether it's this, whatever it may be, that and sometimes we all do it just to get along.
Absolutely. Or out of fear of not just getting along.
Exactly. And in that moment, it was one of the walls began to break for me. And then it came a point where I had no choice, as they say, to break the chains, nigga run. Nigga, I got to run for the Northland.
Yeah, but that's a lot of what we feel like, right? Terrance, I know we're unfortunately running out of time, so I did want to throw one more moment at you, if you don't mind, to encourage people. You spoke about the Coke bottle earlier, and that's what I called it, the Coke bottle. You know what I'm talking about? That situation.
Yes.
I don't want to move past the real and raw, because we've had some of these moments on the show without having a moment for somebody like you who has so much internal strength. And I know you have a village. What would you say then to any child who either is in foster care, who will hear this, or a young person, or anybody who has gone through that kind of situation, to encourage them so that they're not haunted by the memories, or at least, if I guess, just to grow through and come out of what happened to them?
As hard as it is to say, particularly for those children who may hear this, and even those adults who may have grown up with situation like that I grew up, to know that whatever's taking place, it's not your fault. It's not you, it's them.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
To know that it's not you. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. They are. They are. And if you can find someone to say that to, tell them. But the main thing after that because we can carry some stuff and think it was us. I want you to know from my heart that you are not broken. For a long time, I believed that I was broken by the things my mama did, my daddy did, what they did to me in foster care, what the system did. That the one thing I will instill in you, if you can somehow, and with time you'll understand it, to know that it's not you, that you are not broken. That's the one thing I would say. You are not broken. And I say that from a deeper, I don't even just, I know I'm saying it to them, to your audience and those kids, but as I say those words, I'm also saying them to me.
Yeah.
I'm saying them to that little 6-year-old, 9-year-old, 17-year-old, 21-year-old, all that. I'm reminding myself that I wasn't broken. I'm not broken.
Thank you so much, Terrance. Man, I know there is so much more that we could be talking about and discussing. I do want to have you back on the show so we can get more onto the criminal justice side of things.
Yeah, we got to.
Dealing with, the injustices and how the system is broken and what we can do to engage with law enforcement and how to address disenfranchisement and disparities, and how we can build a bond, build a bridge between the communities, individuals who's previously been incarcerated, and those within law enforcement, and how to reestablish our communities at a higher level, at a deeper level. So those are some of the things that, I definitely want us to be able to come back and have a discussion on this year, like not next year. This year, we're going to make some adjustments and make some room so you can definitely come back.
And I'm going to say to both of you, I want to thank you for having me here. I appreciate this. And that is definitely I hope I'm gonna really hold you guys to, because with our current administration, we now have an opportunity to really address some of the issues that plague us in some of the language we talk about: mass incarceration, the carceral state. So I'm actually pushing forward to a new campaign to repeal the '94 crime bill that's responsible for a great majority of what we now know as mass incarceration. So I look forward to coming back on the show. Absolutely.
And I know that you're closely engaging with legislation and lobbying. So, you and I will definitely stay connected, and we're going to have more conversations on this. Thank you so much. This is a season. We have to talk about these things now, because later it's too late. And it's always
the season. We're in the season now.
That's right.
We're in the season.
Right. And we every time we talk about later, it never comes. So we're going to talk about final thoughts. We have about 5 minutes left. And Terrance, man, this has been absolutely amazing. This show, this episode right here is one to send to all your family members around the world. It don't matter. You figure out how to translate it into your own language. But
and we knew it was going to be good too.
Get it. Absolutely. And I love your authenticity. But Terrance, what would you like the audience to be left with, and a call to action? And then how can they reach out to you?
I think the main thing that I would like the audience to remember, particularly in regards to the work that we're doing today, remember the stones that the builders refused. But you got to catch that. That every stone is a valuable piece in creating what we're trying to create when we talk about equity and equality. And sometimes those stones that the builders refuse are actually the cornerstones for what we're trying to get to. Big guy said that, not me. So it is what it is. Because I say that because I'm the stone one of the stones that the builders refused. So that's that. I think that the call of action for everyone is, as we move forward in society, please don't continue to judge a book by its cover. Read the pages.
Thank you.
Read the pages, because in those pages you might find yourself. And then we can all say when we look at those individuals or situations, but by the grace of God, but for the grace of God, there go I. In that, I would say that for me our call to action is just that it's going to be critically important that as we heal as a country, that as we heal as a society, and that we heal as a people, that we need those people to help heal us. We can't do this alone. We can't. And it's going to be critically important that you extend yourselves and ourselves and our spirits to the work of uplifting those who have been downtrodden by this society, and for me, particularly this criminal justice system. So as you engage with these communities, for some of you may be new, I will constantly remind you, remember, God made every stone and every vase for a purpose. And just be open to that.
Thank you so much. Wow. Sis, your final thoughts, love?
Yes, simply put, I'm sorry, since I didn't write them down, but all I want to say is that I co-sign everything that he said. And if I wrote them down, it would be right anyway. I do. And I'm so grateful for him to be here. And I just don't want anybody to give up. No matter where you've been, no matter where you've been, no matter where you've been and what you've been through, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Don't give up on you. You have the right to be celebrated and not tolerated in every area of your life.
Thank you.
Oh, and lastly, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so caught up on the real and the raw, y'all ladies. You see, I keep looking over, see if I can slide in, but I think she's looking at here. But I want to thank you, beautiful ladies. And I'm looking straight when I'm saying this. I honestly want that gun might be going this way. I honestly want to thank you guys for having me on this show, and I also want to say to your audience, you can reach out to me at Terrance L. Coffie. That's TerrenceL Coffie at gmail.com. And also every Thursday, I host a talk show called It's Coffee Time with Professor Coffie, where we talk power, politics, and the criminal justice system. I'm on every Thursday on FetLifeStation.com. It's internet radio. So if you guys want to tune in and hear me lose my everlasting mind, which I do. Week. Somebody gonna get the business. I get to get it down another kind of way. I get to do it with a pen and a paper now on their asses.
We'll make sure to get that information from you and post it on our page for everybody. So, because I can type fast enough. So, okay, go ahead, Liz.
So I just want to thank everyone who joined us this evening, and those that couldn't join us. Share it. That is the call to action tonight. Share this episode. Let people hear the stories of a true human being. Let people understand that judgment gets you nowhere, because you miss out on all of those bricks, all of those nuggets that people throw by the wayside as though it's not important, because it is so critical for us to understand that every single piece is a part of the puzzle, and it has to be gently placed in the right spot in order for you to get the full picture. And, no two people have the same story. No two people have the same background or experience, and people are going to go through things that are similar. People are going to have hardships, and it could be our children, it could be our parents, our grandparents. Somebody in your family has gone through something similar or the same as Mr. Terrance right here. Don't be so quick to judge. Number one, share this content with all that you know. I don't care if you send it to the prisons. I don't care if you send it to the county jails. I don't care where you send it to. Send it to
and the prison ministries.
And the prison ministry, send it to the church house, because everyone has a story and everyone has a testimony, and this is his truth, and he has come through something to get to where he is today. And we do not have the capacity to show the level of gratitude that we have to Mr. Terrance on this evening. This is real and raw. This is real and raw. This is real and raw. And we appreciate you. Join us for the after the show after party.
Yes. So remember though, you guys, to refresh. Okay, so remember to refresh your pages though. So if you're on Facebook and you're on YouTube, just hit the refresh button, and at 10:15 we'll be on with the Slappy Pain as we get a little more real, a little more raw, let our hair down. I said we're gonna take our wigs off last week, but we don't have any wigs.
Yeah, we don't.
And so as we live, laugh, and love a little more, get grateful, and really surmise some things and talk about it. Thank you so much to our audience for joining us, and for our guests for being so authentic and vulnerable and transparent in the no judgment zone where there are no boundaries.
That's all right.
That's right. And I'm Vawn Gretta. Did she get stuck? Okay. And I'm Vawn Gretta. I'm traumatized for last week since when you got stuck.
I didn't get stuck this time. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Coffie. We'll see y'all next time. Join us again. Share. We need your support. We are trying to grow this thing worldwide. And you see what we bring to the table. So don't be selfish. Share this out.
She pulled out the whip. Don't be selfish. She love you though. And thank Kevin. Y'all connect with Kevin and support him and give back to him. And he's totally poured into us tonight. And to our YouTube page, you'll see him. He's on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much for tuning in, right, sis? We see y'all over in the after party show. Thanks, Terrance. Good night, y'all.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta. Remember to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel today. A special thanks to our guests, sponsors, and audience members. We are grateful for your support of our programming. If you would like to be a guest or sponsor of one of our shows, please email us at info.realrawtalkshow@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. This has been a Wisdom Entertainment production in association with Social Integration. The views and opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of The Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta. Any content provided are opinions and do not intend to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. Stay connected and join us for our next conversation where there are no boundaries and no judgments.